Welcome viewers to our first lecture on the renal system. Today we'll be dealing with the structure of the kidney. So with a bit of introduction, let's see what the kidney really is. So this is how the kidney or the kidneys are positioned in our body. Now the kidney is a paired bean-shaped excretory organ that produces urine. These kidneys are attached or connected to the ureter, into the urinary bladder, then through the urethra. So when urine is formed or produced, it is excreted through the ureter, then into the urinary bladder where it is stored, and when it is full, it is now excreted to the external environment through the urethra. Now superior to each kidney, we have the adrenal or suprarenal glands. So we have the left, the right, and then we have the left suprarenal gland. Now as you can see, the right kidney is displaced a little bit lower than the left kidney. This is due to the presence of liver on the right side, and this displacement is about 1 to 1.5 centimeters lower. Okay, so let's look at the external part of the kidney. So externally, this is what we can see. So let's look at the part of it. So we have the medial and then the lateral border of the kidney. Now medially, we have the hilum of the kidney, where vessels, renal pelvis enter and leave the kidney. We also have the anterior surface, and behind it we have the posterior surface. Then we have the superior extremity or pole and then the inferior extremity. Now, the kidney or each kidney is protected by some tissues. What are these tissues? We have the perinephric fat or the perirenal fat capsule, which is covered by the renal fascia. Then on top of it, we have the renal capsule. Now, these renal capsules are endowed with nociceptors for pain. So actually, when there is a blow in the lumbar region and we are feeling some pains, this is due to the activation of the nociceptors. So internally, what do we see? So this is the internal structure of the kidney. So internally, we can see the outer cortex, the inner medulla, and then we can also see the renal calyx. These renal calyx are divided into minor and then major. Minor and major calyxes combine together to form the renal pelvis, which is then continuous with the ureter into the urinary bladder. Now, the hilum or the cavity where these vessels, nerves enter the kidney and leave the kidney is what we termed as the renal sinus. The parenchyma of the kidney is made up of the cortex and the medulla. The renal calyx and the renal pelvis, they have non-striated circular muscles that prevent the backflow of urine into the medulla or into the cortex. What it means is that it helps in the downward, or it propels urine into the ureter, then into the urinary bladder. Okay, so let's take the cortex and look at it a little bit deeper. So the cortex is made up of what we call the renal corpuscles. Unfortunately, you can't find it here, but it is found in the cortex. We have the renal corpuscles. In subsequent lectures, you understand that the renal corpuscles are actually made up of the nephron, which is the basic functional unit of the kidney. Then we have the medullary rays, which is a collection of renal tubules that drain into a single collecting duct. This is where majority of urine is actually produced, about 85%. Then the rest of the 15% is actually found at the juxtamedullary side, or just at this junction. We call it juxtamedullary. Okay, so let's take the medulla and then look at it in details. So in the medulla, we can find what we call the pyramids. These pyramids have what we call the base and the apex. Now at the apex, we can see or we can find the papilla. The papilla. These papilla are made up of papillary ducts where urine that is formed in the cortex they drain into. So they drain into the papillary duct, then into the minor calyx, into major calyx, into renal pelvis, into ureter, then into the urinary bladder. Now, parts or there are some projections of the cortex into the medulla. These projections are called the renal columns. So renal columns contain what? Blood vessels. Blood vessels. Now a renal column with a pyramid together forms what we call the renal lobe. And inside each lobe we have what? Lobules. And we have about 7 to 8 in each kidney. Okay, so let's look at the topography of the kidney. In relation to the vertebra or the ribs, the kidney is related to the T12 right through the L3. So we have T12, L1, L2, L3, as you can see. Then with respect to the ribs, as you can see, we have the 11th and the 12th rib superiorly. It is above the iliac crest, about 3 to 5 centimeters. The kidney is a retroperitoneal organ. Retroperitoneal organ. So now let's look at the neighboring organs of the kidney or to the kidney. So superiorly, what we can see is that the right kidney has or it neighbors the adrenal gland and the liver. The inferior extremity, it neighbors the loop of small intestine and then the right colon. Then anterior surface or anteriorly we have the transverse mesocolonial hilus. Then on the posterior side of the right kidney, you can see the psoas major muscle and then the quadratus lumborum muscle. Then medially, we have the descending part of the duodenum. Descending part of the duodenum. On the left kidney, superiorly, we can also see the left adrenal gland, the stomach, and the spleen. Inferiorly, we can see the loops of small intestine. Anteriorly, we can see the transverse mesocolon, the pancreas, the left colic flexure, and the loops of small intestine. Posteriorly, we can see the psoas major again, the quadratus lumborum, and then we have the transverse abdominis muscles. Then laterally, we can see the spleen and the descending colon. So viewers, basically, this brings us to the end of our first lecture on the renal system. In our next lecture, we'll be discussing the vascular system of the kidney. You don't want to miss this. So please follow us on our media platforms. On row1 on Facebook at row1, Instagram at row1_row1, on Twitter at ruling our world 1, and on YouTube at row1 TV. If you like this video, kindly share among your friends. Let's help to make medicine fun. So thank you once more again, and I hope you really enjoyed this video.